crazy. It's getting spooky real fast. Very, very fast. I told y'all, people have had enough. All of y'all in the Indiana Fever organization who have been lying about this girl injury, not being transparent, and all these things that the fans are feeling, the fans are speaking back. They do not appreciate it. They feel scammed. They feel lied to.
Hey, this is outrageous. The Indiana Fever's front administration and coach Stephanie White appear to have committed the worst disappearance in WNBA history. They hid Caitlin Clark's wounds in plain sight, thinking that no one would notice. Fans have noticed and found receipts everywhere. Inconsistent chronology, footage, and photographs. This feels like a cover-up rather than a medical update. Did they believe in 2025 that people would not double-check every word? The many discrepancies in this case warrant an investigation into deceptive consumer tactics. Fans have raised concerns about being duped into purchasing tickets, watching games, and purchasing merchandise under false pretenses.
DOJ and FTC to investigate WNBA's misleading practices. Wow. So we are here now. And what's crazy about all of this is that, guys, this is I'm not going to come on here and say that they're going to lose, because if there was an investigation going into this team, they're not going to lose this investigation. Oh, they're going to win. Whoever is representing Caitlin is going to win.
Allow me to clarify. This is not a trivial error. This is an outright credibility dilemma. Stephanie White, head coach of the Indiana Fever, presented a tale about Clark's injury chronology to the media, perhaps expecting supporters to believe it. However, there is a catch. People will criticize your dates if they do not align with reality. Do you trust the Fever front office and coach Stephanie White after this?
The Clark injury situation is officially a mess because not only is there not more clarity, there's more confusion about what her timeline could be. And that's coming on the heels of it seeming to be pretty clear when Clark would return to the court, or about when she would return to the court. It was said on the ESPN broadcast on August 12th that Stephanie White hoped Clark would be back in practice this week. Open portion of practice, Clark is not seen. And Stephanie White afterwards said it's status quo until Clark is back at practice.
Let's go back a moment. Clark had a groin injury from a JCS Sheldon knee during a game in mid-July. She hopes to return by the end of August. She was day-to-day. Practice was expected to ramp up gradually. Despite the end of August, Clark is yet to join the team for practice. Surprisingly, another injury occurred without warning. According to their official story, Caitlin Clark was injured during an exercise around August 7th. Doesn't that sound tidy? Controlled and ideal for public relations purposes. But here is the issue. On the same day, Clark was seen strolling through Phoenix with a fashionable Prada bag, as if she were about to walk down the runway. She is making good progress. There was no limp, wheeze, or obvious discomfort. Fans are aware of this, as evidenced by footage.
What changed? Right? I know there's never been a direct timeline, but all the signs seem to point in the direction of Clark returning soon. Even Natasha Howard saying, "See you soon, Cece." Now it's like, wait and see. And there's further information coming out that Clark suffered a bit of an ankle injury in the midst of her recovery process. Did that hinder her return? One reporter saying yes, another reporter is saying no. Bottom line is, we need to know a little bit more. We don't need Caitlin Clark's in-depth medical report, but it's fair for fans to wonder if the Fever and the league's biggest star is going to return to the floor this season, or what the chances are. And she's been out of action for 5 weeks, so it's not as if some patience hasn't been expressed.
Here's where things go insane. White and her PR staff doubled down rather than conceding the story was false. This is where the original clown show began. Reporters like Scott Agnes, who should be providing accurate information, were seen smiling as they recounted an unfortunate injury incident on television. This wasn't anxious laughter. Caitlin's suffering elicited genuine laughter, as if it were a horrible comedy routine. Is it true that the player responsible for the league's historic ratings has been sidelined, and the media is laughing? This behavior is not only unprofessional, but also disrespectful to fans and Caitlin Clark.
Indiana Fever's got $1 billion entity on their team. $1 billion damn dollars. And they're a bunch of clowns, a bunch of bozos. You guys look completely incompetent and unprofessional. The way this has been handled, oh, it's a joke. It's a joke. Look, and look, they can't say anything about conspiracy theories. You're complicit in creating them because you won't be open and you won't be honest.
And take this. The Fever's credibility has plummeted. It's one thing to create a story. When a team lies and smiles while doing it, it sends a message to the entire fan base that it believes they are stupid enough to buy it. Fans aren't stupid, let me assure you. Social media receipts are permanent and can be compiled in real time.
This video right here that a lot of you have already seen, I just saw it in the last couple of days of Caitlin getting stepped on by a coach right there on the left.
Stepped on by the coach, and I think she's going to be all right based upon the grin on her face. But
the left foot, the one that's got the issue, she got stepped on. And today, I'm not even going to say Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin Clark fans are crashing out at a different level. And I don't blame them.
They don't want you to think about this part. Remember when assistant coach Bon January practically trod on Caitlin Clark's foot during a game? That incident did not simply fade. It was overshadowed by the false workout myth. The day she was allegedly injured differs from the day we, the fans, witnessed an event. So what is it? Was it an unintentional training mishap? Was Clark hurt by staff who were supposed to safeguard her? If the latter is true, this is far more than just bad luck. This is a case of negligence. Negligence could lead to a significant probe.
As I've said, Caitlin Clark was day-to-day for I don't know how long. You guys have fabricated timelines on her injury many times throughout this season. And the people have just flat out had enough. And it's gone so.
Caitlin Clark has been compelled to recite sterilized talking lines that do not reflect her authentic personality, which is heartbreaking. They appear to have been written by a Fever intern. Every time she talks about her rehabilitation, she uses the same words. Despite hard work and positive feelings, I was unlucky. The repetition appears robotic. The timing is really suspect. Fans recognize the distinction between genuine honesty and deliberate damage control. This practice is inappropriate.
Disappointing. It's deceptive. Fans invested their hard-earned money in tickets, streaming packages, and merchandise under the belief that they were being given honest information. Instead, it appears coordinated efforts were made between the league and team communications to present a facade of hopeful updates, masking the true status of a beloved player.
First and foremost, let's clarify. Clark has advanced beyond his rookie status. She is currently in her second season. The league's top star has earned the attention by selling out arenas and carrying WNBA ratings on her back. Despite this, she is being treated as a pawn in a shoddy cover-up. In the NBA, if a coach or staff member lied about injuring LeBron James or Steph Curry, it would result in widespread coverage, investigations, and potential terminations. In the WNBA, there is a lack of accountability and transparency, with reporters serving like unpaid interns for the club. The Fever's credibility is currently shattered. Stephanie White is at the heart of this storm. Her use of a fabricated timeframe to distract fans is not just negligent. It's possible that it is fraudulent. Misleading fans about a celebrity's health while selling tickets, games, and merchandise is considered deceptive consumer practices. Such activity is likely to be probed by watchdogs, sponsors, and legal authorities.
Everybody's been hanging on. And even worse, everybody's been spending money on this team, which looks like a damn scheme at this point. The Indiana Fever know people have been spending money on tickets and travel and blah, 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 thinking that Caitlin Clark was her anticipated comeback. People tuning in and showing up at games, they need to understand that was because the idea, the aura that Caitlin Clark was coming back to lead this team into the playoff.
Here's the most controversial theory currently being discussed. Is it possible that this is more than just incompetence? Is it intentional? Clark's dominance in the league shattered ratings and reshaped narratives. However, murmurs quickly began. She should gain weight. She requires increased strength. She isn't ready. So, what exactly happens? She has rushed to build muscle. Her body degrades. Her second season is overshadowed by injury rumors. That is not terrible luck. That is a horrible plan. Poor planning may always be traced back to an individual. The blame lies with Stephanie White and her crew.
I just want to say fans felt excited when they purchased tickets, believing they'll watch Caitlin Clark shine on the court. However, that excitement turned to disappointment as misleading injuries kept fueling false hopes that she had played the WNBA. And hold up. Damn, is they finna get her for line? Is they finna get her for line to the fans? Oh my God. Hold up. The WNBA and Indiana Fever Indiana Fever have repeatedly engaged in what seems to be a strategic ploy to drive ticket sale and merchandise sales by suggesting that Caitlin Clark return was on the horizon. Holy-ish right now, bro. Oh my God, it's about to get red.
Fans suggest Caitlin Clark return to her trusted Iowa doctors instead of the medical experts at the Fever. And honestly, can you blame them? What else may the front office be concealing if they lie about her injury? Are they playing down the gravity of the situation? Are they rushing her back to promote ticket sales? These are hardly outrageous conspiracy theories. Fans have reasonable concerns as the Fever has not provided a clear solution from the start. The quiet in this scene speaks louder than their rehearsed statements, indicating a cover-up. Stephanie White presented a workout injury story with a smile, as if the audience was fully unaware. But here's the surprise. Repetition exposes flaws in the story. Each time she doubles down, she makes herself and the franchise look even more dishonest. Instead of safeguarding Caitlin, White is undermining her credibility and escalating the situation. Fans of Fever are aware of these issues. They are completely fatigued. Caitlin Clark has faced abuse from defenders, refs, and jealous teammates, and now she is being mistreated by her own squad. Imagine being the most touted women's basketball player in decades, shattering attendance records and establishing TV viewership highs, only to be lied about when you get hurt. This is not simply a case of mismanagement. It constitutes malpractice. This behavior can derail a superstar's career before they reach their peak.
I feel like they were lying about her injury as far as like the severity of it. I think it's a really bad injury. I think when they rushed her back that one time, I think she hurt it even more and it pushed the timeline back.
Trying to come back and come back quickly. She needs to make sure that she's 100%. A competitor wants to play. We're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness is the most important thing.
As bad as it might sound, I think it might be like a season-ending level type of injury, and they're hoping to get in the playoffs and they can somehow get her during the playoffs.
This is important for more than simply Indiana. Caitlin Clark currently dominates the WNBA. She is the driving force behind things. She is responsible for keeping casual sports fans up to date on game times. Her presence fills venues, pushes TV contracts, and engages sponsors. When Caitlin is removed from the equation, the consequences are immediate. Attendance, ratings, and lucrative business relationships are all declining. Stephanie White's cover-up is more than a public relations disaster. This presents a risk of consumer deception. If supporters buy tickets expecting Clark to perform when the organization knows she won't, it's deceptive advertising. This is the type of fraudulent activity that leads to investigations.
And the craziest thing about this last groin injury with Caitlin Clark is how it's been covered. The day after she had the groin injury, she was listed as day-to-day. And then a couple weeks after that, then she was listed to being out indefinitely. Now, ESPN had August 12th as the circled return date for Caitlin Clark to get back onto the court. And just yesterday, she was listed as a game time decision for today's game against the Dallas Wings. And then after practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White basically came out and said, like, like, no, Caitlin Clark hasn't even been practicing. So they changed it from a game time decision to her being out.
Let's discuss timing, as the current scenario stinks. Caitlin's fever was finally apparent, but she was shelved under a fake timeline, causing the squad to stumble and lose momentum. Sabotage occurs, whether intentional or unintentional. White's decision to go on camera and fabricate a story exacerbated the damage.